Hello, YouTube. Just waiting for TikTok now. Oops. Okay. I'm just waiting for my TikTok. Hi, Shan Tate. I don't know what's your real name and what isn't. Like, I know there's a lot of different handles on here. How are you? I'm great. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm also filming on YouTube these days, so that's where I'm saving these lives because I've got hundreds of them that they're just floating in TikTok somewhere, and I don't know where they're going to end up. But anyway, so in the last couple months, because I do daily lives, I've been doing them on YouTube also. So sometimes people say they prefer to go over to YouTube because they can type easier, like longer questions. In YouTube. Anyway, okay, so while we're waiting for people to turn up, I like to get a fair few in here first. I like to know where you're from. So where are you from? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. If you're new, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. Okay, I don't answer parenting questions till I get a number on here. I'm just sort of warming up here. So where are you from? What part of the world? I'm in Vancouver, Canada. So I'm just setting up here. Australia. You've been here before? My kids were born and raised in Australia. I was there for many, many years, Sydney and Brisbane. Indiana. Hi, Indiana. I don't even know where that is. I'm not sure. Indiana. No, I don't know where that is. I'll have to look that up later. Florida, I know where that is. Sacramento, California. I've been there. Rhode Island, have a fair idea where that is. Melbourne. Oh, you're from Melbourne. Yeah. I landed in Sydney, was there for a year, had one of my kids there. And then I'm originally from Vancouver. So I can't judge Australia because I can't judge Canada because they're both home to me. So I don't know, but yeah, I love Vancouver. I mean, I remember once years and years ago, back in the 80s, I went to first thing in the morning, I went down to the beach and had a coffee sitting in the sand with my dog down on the beach downtown. Then I went to work all day. Then an hour after work, I was on top of a mountain skiing. That's Vancouver. Like, it's just a really diverse city. It's gorgeous. It's very expensive. Like, I feel bad for young people starting out here. It's like New York. It's extremely expensive here, property and that. That's the negative. That's what most people say is difficult because our wages in New York, your wages are more reflective of the cost of living, not in Vancouver. The wages aren't great here, and the cost of living is horrendous. Like, real estate is ridiculous here. So that's the only thing. If you're young, I'm old, but if you're young and starting out, it's a difficult city to start out in. That's what they say. A lot of young people complain about it. Anyway, it's a gorgeous city. And, I love Australia too. I was in Sydney and Brisbane, so I've only lived in beautiful places. Okay, so glad you're live. I'm going to get my husband to watch too. So have you been telling him about my methods, and then he says, yeah, right. I get that a lot in coaching. I'll get both parents sometimes on calls, usually just the mom, but sometimes I'll just get the dads too. But I love it when I get both mom and dad, and there's often one parent sitting forward and the other one sitting back like this. Pretty easy to tell who wanted to hire me. But anyway, once they start getting results, the other one gets on board too. That's how it works. Can your kids get dual citizenship? Yeah, we all have dual citizenship. I sponsored my Australian husband. He sponsored me in Australia. And then when we moved back here, he was my ex-husband, but I sponsored him back in Canada. So all four of us have dual citizenship, which, I mean, very lucky, right? So, okay, how many people we got? Oh, I've just got 70 people. I'll just give it a couple more minutes. I usually like to get to about 100 before we get going. So I'm always ask people where you're from. Rhode Island. Don't know where that is. No, I can't even guess. Rhode Island. So I've got Indiana and Rhode Island to look up afterwards. I'm just fascinated by where everyone's from. So where are you from? Exactly, men don't believe. Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes the moms don't. Illinois. Hi, Illinois. Ontario. Hi, Ontario. New Jersey. Maryland. Excellent. Providence, Rhode Island. Oh, okay. Jeez, I'm going to look that up too. Rhode Island. I have an idea. Maryland. I just like to look these places up. Indiana. I'm not very good at geography. I've learned more about geography in the last year that I've been on TikTok and asking where you're from in these lives than I probably ever knew before. Salem, Massachusetts, Louisiana, Texas. I don't know why, but Texas is on my bucket list. I don't know what draws me to Texas. I want to go to Dallas, Houston, and Austin. I'm a vegan, so I'm told I should go to Austin, but I'm not pro-vegan, so it's not like I want to surround myself with a bunch of vegans. Actually, I don't know any vegans. Yeah, I don't have any vegan friends. So, okay, New Brunswick. Hi, New Brunswick. Western Wisconsin. Cordeline. Cordeline. Did I say that right? Probably wrong. Idaho. That's why I said shoot. I knew I was going to get that wrong. Toronto. I've been there a few times. Not in a long time, though. Not since I was a teenager. And that was like 50 years ago. I'm vegan, too, and I love watching your lives. Yeah, I don't know any vegan. I'm not pro-vegan. It's just, just suits me. Oahu. Oh, hello. I've been to Hawaii once. I was there for 24 hours and was on a layover from Australia, immigrating back to Canada with my 2 Australian kids. Yeah, it was a very stressful trip because they kept saying at any airport they could send you back to Australia because a Canadian-sounding mom with an Australian ex-husband going with 2 Aussie kids who were very Aussie. They said, you're probably going to be red flagged at each airport you hit. Oh, what a nightmare. Anyway. Funny story, when we finally got to my mom's place, the only reason we moved back to Canada because my mom was elderly and got ill. Anyway, we're back at my mom's place. We just arrived back in Canada, me and my 2 kids. My ex-husband arrived a couple months later. And so we're lying in bed and my daughter says to me, and I said, I was so relieved that we'd made it. It was months of planning and then the stress of the airport saying you could be turned back at any time. We had to show them our bank account to prove that we had enough money to fly back to Australia if we got turned around. And they can do it just like that. At every airport we stopped at, they looked at our irises and recorded them. And I mean, it was just bizarre anyway, because which is great. I like that kind of security, but it was very scary. So we land in Vancouver, in my mom's place, late at night, we're exhausted. And my daughter says in the dark, she goes, because I said, oh, finally we're here. And she goes, can't they come still get us and send us back? And then I was like this. I never even thought about that. Thank you for that. But anyway. Yeah, what we do. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. I'm just going to introduce myself quickly. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it is bratbusters.com. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. You're on that behavior board too. That's what makes it work. You got to give respect to get it, right? You got to give before you get, and you got to work for that too. Getting respect is hard work. Once you've got it, maintaining it is easy. It's the getting it that's hard, and that's usually what people are here for, right? Okay. I'm becoming a mom in September and I love watching your videos for tips. Makes me feel more prepared. Even though all kids can be challenging at times, but understanding them makes it a lot easier. You just kind of go, okay, they're going to outgrow. It's usually toddlers. Oh, they're going to outgrow that. Yeah, it's just a stage. Should only last a week or 2. Not tantrums though. They can go on for a couple of years. Yeah. I have a question. My 4-year-old laughs hysterically when I discipline him despite my seriousness. Yeah, that's a nervous laugh. It's not real laughter. It's just a nervous laugh. And he's just doing that for attention. Just don't give it any attention whatsoever. So you say, okay, here's the rule. There's the consequence. And then just cut off the conversation. Don't allow him to get under your skin. It's not real laughter. It's that evil stuff, right? Hello, Lisa. Hello, Kat. Hi, Kat. You've been here before, haven't you? Kat, why does that sound so familiar? Kat. Can't remember. Okay. What do you do about an 18-month-old that turns hysterically upset when he knows bedtime is coming? Nothing. Just ignore it. It's just a stage. Don't get upset with him. Just ignore it. Just keep doing what you're doing. You stay in your lane and just keep getting him off to bed. Whatever he does is his own process. He will learn. He just will. If you stay calm and just keep doing what you're doing, keep doing the right thing, they eventually get on board. Not right away. They don't learn the first time, maybe even not the 10th time or the 100th time, but eventually they will. But if you don't stay calm and just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, they'll never learn. So just stay calm, and at least on the outside. I have a teen girl with ODD and I'm losing it. Any tips? ODD is, oppositional defiant disorder. It's not a real medical diagnosis. It's just a label that's been given to moms to make them feel better. That's what all pediatricians have told me. Anyway, so it just means they're a little bit feistier. It means you have to up your leadership skills. That's all it is. You just have to up your leadership skills. You stay calm when you're disciplining. The rest of the time you can be crazy and fun. But whenever they need guidance, like they need to be guided into making good choices, then it's all business. Discipline is all business. You discipline them to teach them how to be self-disciplined. I didn't want to discipline my kids. I just taught them how it was done, and then they were self-disciplining. That's the whole point here. You want to get them to be self-disciplining. I didn't want to discipline them. That's a lot of work. I want them to do it themselves, and they did from a really little age. They just got it, and they will. You can teach them this at any age. ODD information, it's oppositional defiant disorder. It just means they're feisty. That's all. They're feisty. How much should I go on about that? How much do you want me to go on about that? Just means they're feisty. It's not a medical diagnosis. Do you want me to go on? If not, I'll go on to something else. Okay. If so, just ask me more on ODD. Okay. Is my daughter too young to begin disciplining at 15 months old? Yeah, it's consistent corrective action, but it's really gentle at that age. It's just to know and then remove them from the situation or remove the toy from them. But then you can divert them with just reading a book. What you do is you don't divert them with candy or chocolate. Okay, it's not like you just did something bad. Here's some chocolate. It's not like that. You divert them by doing something else. They're watching you. So you say no and you take the toy away. Then you go just move away from them, take one of their books and start reading out loud. They will eventually learn to just join in. Remember, you're modeling calm behavior. If you join them in the crazy and get all and talk to them while they're doing that, you're feeding it. You're rewarding the crazy. I reward the calm. I'm showing them how to be calm. I'm sitting there reading out loud one of their books that they love. Right? They just had a fit because I corrected them. It's consistent corrective actions, not words. One word, no, that's enough. That's plenty. And then you just sit and read a book. They will learn, not the first time probably, but eventually they'll learn to come over. If they're really hysterical, you can pick them up. Like they're having a fit, they're banging their head on the floor and all that. Pick them up like this and have them facing away from you. And put your hand on the back of their head to prevent them from headbutting. You don't want them to hurt themselves or you. Okay, so and just don't go like that. It's okay. You don't talk to them, nothing. You're just like walking around like you're doing, like you don't even know they're there kind of thing. They will eventually calm down. Once they calm down, you put them down. And then you just go about your business as calm as anything. Remember, you are showing them how to regulate their emotions by being calm because they're watching you. Talking doesn't do it. Those mini therapy sessions, total waste of time, garbage. Okay. Can you start the behavior board at 9? Yeah. I have clients who use it as a couple. They use it they use it with each other. You know what I don't like about what you do? Toilet seat. Every time you leave the toilet seat up, you have to clean the toilet or something like that. So any age you can start it past the age of 3. It starts at 3. And then I have people who take it to work. How do I avoid good girl syndrome? I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean. I would like a lot. Okay. I just don't understand this. I would like a lot on, oh, you want more information on ODD. He's 11, very argumentative and stubborn. Okay, here's the thing. Some kids are born feistier than others for sure. It just means that they need a leader. Those are the kids with, I call them alphabet kids, ODD, ADHD, WXYZ, whatever you want to call them. I always call them alphabet kids. Those are the easiest ones for me to get respect from, like the quickest. They were the quickest to turn around. Do you know why? They need leadership more than any other kid does. The alphabet kids are the most desperate for leadership because they're out of control and it doesn't feel good, by the way. They're not happy. It doesn't feel good. When they come up against a calm, strong leader, it's almost like they go like this. Oh, finally. Like they need that. So work on your leadership skills. That's all I teach. I don't fix kids. I fix parents. You lead, they will follow. They just will. It's just the way it is. Teenagers are different. That's coaching. I don't generalize much with teenagers. That's coaching. And there's no guarantees with any of this. And that's way harder with teenagers. I've been working, that's how I started my business, was working with troubled teens. And, but yeah, we're throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. They're very complicated at that age. They're always going to outsmart us. They just can't out wisdom and experience us. That's all. I would never, ever try and outsmart a teenager. That would be stupid because they are very clever because their brain cells aren't dying out yet. Mine are half gone. I'm sure I'm 62. I'm sure half of them are gone. Okay. How can I be a leader? Just keep watching. Leadership, you can start learning how to do this. The best tool I've ever used is well, I invented it. That sounds so arrogant, but it's a behavior board with the parents on it. That's the best tool that I have that I use with almost all of my clients, and it's free on my website. It's bratbusters.com is my website, and it's the behavior board. It's free on the home page. You download that and you start from there. If you want my help, then you have to hire me, coaching. But a lot of parents are getting great success with that on their own. Not so much parents of teenagers. There's a lot of stuff that we do that's outside of that sort of. It's not, oh, look, I got a crown on my head. I'm royal. Okay. Oh, God, I sure wouldn't want to be royal. What a life. Can you explain why teenagers are different? Because you're their leader when they're young, and when they're teenagers, they're going to be their own leaders. You're just there for backup. If they respect you, they're going to come to you with the big stuff. Okay, you want them to be their own leaders. They are turning into adults. How can you expect them to want to follow your lead and want to please you all the time? That would be pathetic. You don't want that. You want them to become independent thinkers, problem solvers. You want them to be hard workers. You just want all that when they're teenagers. So you're giving them more responsibility. You're only sweating the big stuff, not the small stuff. And whenever you're there and listening, the two most important skills when you're parenting teenagers, number one is listening. You listen to understand and then shut up. You don't, if they want your advice, they will ask for it. You do not listen to understand, to gather information, to lecture with, or they won't talk to you. So you listen to understand and then shut up. That's what parents really struggle with this. I think it was on the live yesterday. They said they were doing that and the teenagers talking to them more now. Okay, so that's the number one parenting skill, actually with all parents, all ages, is just listen to understand. And then when they're little, you might say, oh, do you want to work through this together? You might sort of egg them on. But anyway, and then the second most important parenting skill with teenagers is negotiating. When they're about 13 and up, you start negotiating pretty much everything. You say, this is what I want from you. What do you want from me? Or this is what I want from you. Okay. And then they say, what do you think of this? And then they might say that, and then you meet somewhere in the middle. So always kind of overshoot what you want so that you look like you're compromising. If it's something that you can't compromise on, otherwise compromise. So yeah, you want that. But the difference is when you're their leader, when they're young, they want to please you. You want that. They need, crave, and want leadership. They just do. It's a natural instinct. When they're teenagers, they just won't want to disappoint you. So it's not that they're going to do everything to please you, but they're not going to do the bad stuff because they don't want to disappoint you. But then also it just becomes part of who they are. They start to make good choices, or they always are making good choices if you raise them this way. Okay. Does that make sense? How do I become a leader? Why are teenagers different? Yeah. You want young children to want to please you. You want teenagers to not want to disappoint you, but you want them to be their own leaders. Teenagers are my favorite age because they provide me with the biggest challenge in my business. There's no straight answer with anything. It's figuring stuff out. You're talking to the parents. You're going, okay, have you tried that? Have you tried that? Then usually I'm getting a picture. I'm making my own weird notes and I'm getting a picture of where we need to go. But we need to try stuff. Sometimes I can push the parents. Sometimes I can't. If they're really distraught, they're going through crisis. The crisis stuff is the hardest, of course. But yeah, so it's the most challenging for me. And that's my comfort zone is the teenagers because I worked with them. But anyway, yeah. Plus, who else wants to do that? No one else wants. Very few parenting coaches specialize in teenagers. I don't blame them. Okay. My 2-year-old's constantly fighting with his 1-year-old brother and refuses to share, constant hitting. Yeah, just keep them separate as much as possible. You can't reason with a 2-year-old. Don't even try. You're going to go crazy. Childproof the house as much as possible. Have them have their own toys and then just separate them whenever they start to fight. It's about all you can do. They're 2 and 1, very close in age. It won't last for as long as you think it will. What happens, funny, because whenever I start working with parents who have older kids, and let's say 3 and above, and if they have toddlers, they never ask one thing about the toddler. They understand it's all temporary. Toddlers are crazy. They don't make any sense. Don't try and figure them out. You'll go nuts yourself. So yeah, you just have to wait this stuff out. It's all physical. Keep them apart physically. It's all physical. Consistent corrective actions, keeping them apart when they're fighting. Yeah. How to handle pre-K son who has had bad behavior all year? You mean in school? If they're acting out at school, generally they're acting out at home. Children who respect their parents don't act out at school. They just don't. It's unless something bad's happening at school. That's a tell. Like if you say, they totally respect me, we've got a great relationship, very respectful, then they go to school and all of a sudden they're crazy. There's something going on there. Usually it's not good at home either. So work on your leadership skills. Everything starts at home. Everything starts at home at that age. So yeah, work on your leadership skills. Once they respect you, they carry your leadership umbrella everywhere. Pre-K is 3 and 4. Usually it's 4. Pre-K would be 4. It depends what state or province you're in. Everyone has different vernacular. Because I know I raised my kids in Australia, and in Sydney, it was 3 years old, they go to preschool, then 4 years old, they go to kindy. It's the opposite in Brisbane. Kindy is 3 years old, preschool is, pre-K would be 4, I guess. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, work on your leadership skills. You can't fix them at school. You can only fix them at home, right? So fix it up at home. I shouldn't have said it that way. You don't fix them up at home. You fix yourself up. Remember, we don't fix kids. We fix ourselves. 9-year-old asks us to check to see if room is clean enough over and over instead of cleaning right. Well, then put it on the behavior board. Clean your room within half an hour of being asked to do so. 30 minutes later, you go on and inspect, and if it's not clean, then there's a consequence. Easy. That's an easy one. There's no discussing it. There's no checking. He knows what clean. 9-year-old doesn't know. Well, then have a list. Clean room equals no toys on floor, bed made, clothes put away, dirty clothes in hamper. Have a list. So there's no checking needed. That's it. He's manipulating you. What he's doing is this enough? Is this enough? That's what he's doing. If I got the picture right, I think I do. Okay, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Sure, I'll be wrong again. Take picture of what's expected. Yeah, perfect. So it's all right. There's no checking or arguing. 3-year-old has tantrums when leaving a place. He'll outgrow that. Just make sure that you don't get upset by it, and don't hang around. Don't try and reason with them. Those mini therapy sessions make it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. My son did that. He didn't like being taken away from, but he didn't do it all the time. But every time he'd do it, I'm like, oh, here we go. So I'd just stand there while he was having a tantrum, and I'd be filing my nails. No freaking way would he get back on that play center or whatever he didn't want to leave. No way. I would drag him out to the parking lot or in the car or whatever, and then I'd just file my nails waiting for his tantrum to stop. And then as soon as he stopped, I'd say, okay, let's get in the car seat and get going. So they learn. They just do. Okay, 18-month-old tantrum. It comes up a lot. I don't want to get too repetitive with that on these lives, but yeah, tantrums need to be ignored. You reward the calm, not the crazy. When they're in the crazy zone, if you start doing those mini therapy sessions, discussing their big feelings and big emotions, it's absolute garbage. It's not for them, that's for you. They're consistent corrective actions, except tantrums are not bad behavior. Okay, they're just a total loss of emotional control. You are standing there filing your nails, waiting for them to calm down. You are modeling calm behavior. They're watching you. When they join you in calm behavior, then you go, okay, do you want to go to the park? You don't even discuss the tantrum. Anyway, I have a whole course on toddler tantrums if you're interested. It's on my website, bratbusters.com. I also have a playlist in TikTok, and it's on tantrums. No, it's not. It's on toddlers. So look that up, and it goes into a whole bunch of ignoring. When I first came on TikTok, I've been on here for a year now. When I first came on here, oh my God, did people come after me? You do not ignore a tantrum. You're damaging children. Child psychologists would come on. You're damaging if you're not if you're not addressing all their emotions and feelings. Bunch of crap. I'll tell you why. You're not preparing them for the real world. There's no way they need to have every single fart, burp, feeling, thought, emotion validated. It's ridiculous because the real world isn't like that. They will learn how to manage themselves. They were managing themselves because I'm not running away from them. I'm not putting them in timeout. I hate timeout. I think it's horrible. I'm standing right there filing my nails. They're watching me. I am modeling calm behavior. I'm there for them. I'm just not looking at them or talking to them, but I'm right here. I'm not on a phone. I'm not talking to someone. I'm right here. Okay. That mini therapy session stuff where you're validating every single big emotion and big feeling, all that trendy stuff right now. When that first came out 20 years ago, I can remember talking about this endlessly, that we are raising, you know what that's raising? Self-entitled snowflakes. with mental health issues. I remember saying that. That's the next generation coming up. I'm not saying they're all like that, but you do see an increase in mental health issues. And because they can't cope with not having their feelings. You didn't validate my feelings. I'm just the bus driver, lady. Like, you're just setting them up to be entitled snowflakes. Don't do that. They do not need to have every single thought and feeling and emotion validated. It's garbage. That is my biggest challenge in my business, because I know that's trendy. I get it. It's been trendy for about 20 years now. I get it. I've been battling that I've been in business now for 17 years. So I get it. What's your opinion or content moderation? Like movie rating inappropriate. Don't know what you're talking about. I'm a parenting coach. I don't know what you're talking about. I can think of a whole bunch of different. Okay, I've got a couple questions here. Oh, when is talking through problems okay? When they're calm. And even then, I don't discuss tantrums. I never discuss a tantrum. It's an outburst in emotional control. What's the point in discussing it? There's no point. But talking through problems any other time, but not during a tantrum and not right after. And you never discuss a tantrum anyway. The lesson for them is the fact that there's no reward for tantruming. They will eventually learn, hey, this ain't working. I may as well stop doing it. Children past the age of 3 only do what works. If tantrums never work, they stop having them. Why would they have them? Now, here's interesting. This is really interesting. And some of my clients, a lot of them have child development degrees. And parenting's different. Parenting's personal. There's no degree in parenting, by the way. You can have all sorts of child psychologists, have child development degrees. Still, you can still struggle with your own kids because it's personal. It's just different. Anyway, discussing all the big feelings and emotions. This came in, I remember when it first started coming in, probably about 25 years ago, but 20 years ago, it really got trendy. And I can remember seeing this happen. And I can remember people talking about validating everything, validating everything. The thing is that what they really need is leadership. That's what's missing, because they're validating all these feelings, but they're not leading them. They're not teaching them to make good choices. They're just discussing everything all the time instead of, anyway, so where was I going with this? Oh, flugen. That's my swear word, flugen. Just made that up. I hope it's not a swear word in some other country, because that'd be really embarrassing. Anyway, what's my point with this? Sugar. Shoot. What the heck? I had such a good point. I was on a roll and then I mentally lost it. See, I'm 62 years old. That's what happens. What started that? Oh, I know. Okay. This is what I was criticized, and I love it when people argue with me. I just love it because I'm really confident with what I do. I've been working with kids for 51 years. Anyway, this is what's interesting, is people will say, you're damaging them if you don't validate their feelings. If ignoring a tantrum by filing your nails while they're freaking out, if that damages them, you got bigger fish to fry. What I mean is if your relationship, you're so leaderless, non-leader, that damages them, you're not meeting their needs. Obviously, you're not meeting their needs at all. If that damages them, if they're so fragile that not having attention during a tantrum or discussing a tantrum is going to damage them in any way, you're missing something big. You got bigger fish to fry. You got to work on your relationship with that child. My kids, in a million years, when I was my son only had tantrums. I'm filing my nails, not for 1 second did he not know he was adored and loved. He just thought, well, this ain't working. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Anyway, I'll figure out a better way to explain that one day. I'm going to have to package up a perfect statement to explain that. The best way I have to explain it is the swing story. That's how I explain it, but it's such a long story, but it explains this perfectly, why you ignore tantrums. Okay. Okay, son is going to be 3 in October, so he's only 2.5. He's very mean to his sister. Well, then just make sure she can go in her room and he's not allowed in there. Every time he's mean to her, she goes in her room. Just say we're teaching him a lesson. He will learn. It won't be the first time, won't be the 10th time, might be the 50th time. They learn through consistent corrective actions, and it has to be done every single time. So you know what? We're going to take this whole week and correct that behavior. And it'll work. But it's consistent corrective actions. They learn through repetition, not words, just no. Every time he's mean, no. Then she gets up and goes into her room. or you take him at work. If she's at a gaming console and she can't just get up and leave, then you take him away. So give them separation. He can't get near her. He will learn. After a child has come and you revisit to explain XYZ, and they don't want to listen. No, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. After a child is calm, so they had a tantrum, now they're calm, and you revisit to explain. I don't do that. Why would you do that? They already got it. You just physically explained it. Tantrum, no good, doesn't work. They understand. They're not stupid. Don't undermine them by doing that. It's not necessary. What books do you recommend? I've never read a parenting book. I don't know anything about them. Kids taught me all this. What I suggest you do, I have no idea what's out there. I am very careful about that. I don't know I don't know anybody else out there. I've been invited on things where other parenting experts have been included and they're really famous. I've never heard of them because I stay in my lane. Kids are my teachers. Okay. So I don't know. I've never read a book on kids or parenting or anything, but here's what I recommend you do. If you're going to take advice from anybody who's like on here or anywhere, a book or anything, there's 2 criteria. I wouldn't even consider listening to them unless they had these 2 things. They have to have finished the job. Have they actually lived with and raised teenagers into young adulthood? Because a lot of what's trendy right now can work with young children, but backfires big time in the tween and teen years. Okay, so they have to have finished the job, okay? Also, they might have just had easy kids. They have to have had experience with hundreds of other kids with every single challenge out there you can think of. It's experience-based. You can't just go and study this and then say, I know what to do. You have to have experience with this, okay? So those are 2 things. To me, taking advice from someone without those 2 qualifications would be like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. Or would you take it from someone with $1 billion in the bank? You get my idea? It's experience. Like they have to have proof that they know what they're doing. Plus, if they've only raised their own kids successfully, they might have just had easy kids. Okay, so that's not good enough. How do you feel about too many toys? Good segue into one of my favorite things is the toy rotation system. What I did with my kids, I didn't spoil them with toys. We had a beautiful home. We traveled. We did all that nice stuff. But toys, I did not want to spoil them with toys and stuff. It was just my thing. So anyway, but what I did is even though they didn't have that many toys, I did a toy rotation system. So I put everything in boxes and then they could pick out 5 or 10 toys and that's all they got for the next week. Turns out that they ended up not even asking to rotate for weeks often. So, but it can't be done more than once a week. So it's a toy rotation system. That way it teaches them how to focus. So they will actually play with something instead of going this and that and this and that. It keeps down on the mess. And you know, school operates that way. It teaches them how to focus. I don't like playrooms. They're just scattered, crazy areas. Kids go crazy in playrooms. They just go from one thing to the next. I like to get an activity out and say, okay, kitchen table, Play-Doh for the rest of the afternoon. And my kids would sit and focus for hours on just Play-Doh. And then we'd pack it all up, then the next thing. So like school operates like that. Okay, we're going to pack everything up. Now we're going to do that. They don't throw everything in the middle of the class and say, have at it, like a playroom, right? They have focus times. They have this activity now, that activity then, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of how I ran my house. And that way school was actually quite an easy transition for my kids. Everything was organized, put away, and they had activities. They weren't going around touching stuff. So. Oh, hitters, that is aggressive toddlers. I have a course on that. 17-month-old hitting and it's not part of a tantrum. That is toddlers who hit, bite, etc. That's it's just a mini course on my website. It explains it all and what you do. But yeah, that's very common. A lot of toddlers hit. Any overall advice for babies to try to get ahead of parental issues? Well, the baby stuff's pretty easy. Like emotionally, it's just more physical. Toddlers are crazy, and childproof your whole house. That's my best piece of advice. And expect them to be crazy. Don't try and figure them out. Do never try and figure out a toddler. They're not figure-outable. They're crazy. They're going to do weird stuff. They're going to smear poop on a wall. Totally normal for some toddlers. Totally. So yeah, don't try and figure them out. It's just a stage. Just enjoy them. Childproof your whole house so you can just relax and enjoy them. That's my best piece of advice. And also, everything that a toddler goes through, it's a stage. Like they'll go through something and you think, oh my God, why are they doing this? What are we going to do? And the next thing you know, it's gone. Like they go through stages. My daughter likes to say no to me all the time. She's 3. So that's like attitude. I never address attitude. I say, okay, so we're going to clean this up and we're going to whatever, go to bed. And she says, no, it's going to happen anyway. I don't care what she says. If she's 3 years old, if she doesn't, say, okay, that's fine. Then no TV tonight then, because she was going to watch a TV show. Say, that's fine. No TV tonight. Okay, I'll do it. Well, it's too late. No TV tonight because you didn't do it. Mommy was doing it. You see? Yeah, there's just this. You gotta be, oh, sugar. You got, time is it? Oh, I'm okay. You gotta be really consistent with this stuff. They just learn, but you can sit and read a book or play a game instead. When you say no TV, you're not sitting there with no TV all mad at her. You're doing other stuff instead. So just make sure that if they do talk back and they say no, then you say, okay, that's fine. Then there's no TV tonight. Do you understand? But then if they say no constantly all day long, just make sure something happens if you say no. And if they say no because you're taking something away, just take it away and make it happen. You don't punish them for that. But if it's something that you can't get them to do, like pack toys away, then you have a consequence. But if it's just you taking something away that they won't give you, but they say no, then put it away. I feel like that wasn't it made perfect sense to me. Maybe I'm the only one. Oh, well, 2-year-old won't sit and eat at the table. What's he doing out of a high chair? I'd have him in a high chair. I just would. Yeah. I had my kids restrained and everything possible for as long as possible. Like we never went grocery shopping. They never once ever got to walk beside that shopping cart. They were like 16 years old before they got out of that kiddie seat. I mean, I just made my life as easy as possible. But I had my little goodie bag. So when we went shopping, so they only got that in that shopping cart. That was their shopping cart goodie bag. And they were quite happy to go in there. So yeah, 16 years old. Okay, I exaggerate. Yeah, I'd restrain them. Just put them in a high chair. Love all your advice, by the way. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Do you help older children? Yeah, my specialty is teenagers, but on TikTok, it's mostly toddlers. So do you recommend timeouts and naughty corners? You must be new here. I hate timeout. Can't stand it. I think it's mean. It's horrible. Can't stand it. You're not even worth talking to. You go over there, nose in the corner. You think about what you did. Then you go over afterwards, after a few minutes, and then you discuss what they did wrong, dragging it all out. I think it's horrible. So no, I don't believe in it at all. My favorite age is teenagers, by far, to raise and also to work with. Because they're the most complex. They provide me with the biggest challenge. And I'm never going to try and outsmart a teenager. I just have a lot of experience and wisdom. But I'll never try and you never try and outsmart a teenager, ever. Ever. And you never try and overpower them either, like with authority. Good luck with that. He would climb out. He's pretty well, can climb in and out of things. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things that we can do with that, but I would restrain him, and there must be something that he likes to eat. So I would make sure that you say, you sit there, and if he gets up, then it goes away, and he does not get it. You've got to be willing to confront them and let them process it. The scene. Parents, I would say one of the biggest challenge for parents is to welcome the scenes. A scene is where the lesson is. If you take something away and then they have a fit and then they sit back and then you give it to them, no freaking way would I do that. You sit in your chair. If you get up, this ice cream gets put away. You don't get to eat it. They get up like this and then they, okay, I'll sit. And then you take it away and they go, okay, I'll sit down. That ice cream is in the garburator. There is no freaking way they can get it after that. There's no lesson learned at all. It means they can get up, get down, get up, get down. They get their own way. I see this all the time. If you don't sit down, you get, and then they hold it, and Susie sits down, they give it to them. That would be gone. There's no lesson there. None. Okay, what to do with depressed sugar? Do you ever ask a little one why they're sorry? No, no. If you want me to go on about that, ask me. I'm just going to go to the next question here. What to do with depressed, because I want to get into this. What do you do with depressed kids and sensitive kids? Okay. Generally, it's been my experience that that is more likely to happen with children without a leader, because leadership makes them feel safe. It makes them feel secure. It's not just about teaching them to do the right thing. It provides them with a lot of security and safety. So children who are depressed and overly sensitive tend to not have leaders as parents. Authority is not a leader. The pleaser is the trendy one right now, but authority, you know, that old-fashioned parenting, my way or the highway, that's not, it actually makes them feel better than the pleaser. The pleaser is the worst one for that. The pleasers have the most depressed, sensitive kids from my experience. The ones who were discussing all the big feelings, the ones who were always giving them choices. You want to pave the way, make everything easy for them. They are not preparing them for life at all. Quite the opposite. They're raising very self-entitled snowflakes who can't handle anything that doesn't go their way. That's what that raises, because I have experience with this. I've been watching this for years. I've been watching this for a couple decades. Everything I predicted is happening. It sounds like such a feather in my cap, but it's just, to me, it's just proven that that's just ridiculous. So yeah, leadership is what it's all about. A really good leader is like a sports coach. They love kids. They're fun. They have a very specific expectation. You run from first to second to third, so kids know what's expected of them. Kids know their place, right? They know where they go. But if they cheat and say, I'm not running to second, I'm running from first to third, the coach disciplines them. Okay, sit on the bench for an inning. There you go. And then when they come back in, then they're all cheering them on again. They're focused on the positive, but they deal with the negative. Kids feel safe. It's like that. That's the closest relationship I can think of to what I teach. That's leadership. You want to be friends with your kids for sure, but your parent, number one, your parent. And my kids are so sensitive, so you're probably right. Yeah, I'm guessing. Okay. This is TikTok. Coaching, I'm assessed situations. It's more in depth. I mean, you're going to get a better answer, but usually I'm kind of sure about that one. Like, because I've been doing this for so many years now. And I predicted that's what you're raising. If you're the pleaser and you want to make everything, like, it's like this, a pleaser will ask me this question: how do I make chores fun for my kids? You want everything to be fun for them. You're not preparing them for the real world. How are you going to make paying taxes fun for them? How are they going to function when they have to pay rent? That's not fun. See what I mean? I used to teach my kids, and they had a great life. It was funny because my ex-husband just sent us all a bunch of home movie clips. And I always have it in my head that my kids, in my own head, they were just so obedient, did whatever I said. You should have seen them. They were confident, outspoken. They knew what they were saying, but they were respectful. Like, they were never mean, or they were never disrespectful. They knew who they were. They were very sure of themselves. And but I didn't want to make life easy for them. If they got a bad teacher, I was glad. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get bad bosses, right? Because at home, everything was so great at home that was their safety place. They always had me to come to talk to. Their dad was a good dad too, but I was the disciplinarian. I was the leader. So, but they always had a safe place to land. So I didn't want to make the real world. I wanted to prepare them for the real world. I just did a video on that, but I'm basically saying exactly what I said in that video. Okay, what time is it? I've got a client soon. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm so blunt and I just say it like it is, I want you to get results. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you go, oh, I get it. I know what I'm going to do. And don't worry about yesterday. Guilt is waste of time. If you want to feel guilty about the mistakes you've made with your kids, wait till later. Fix it all up and then go, and then you're going to go, who cares? We all make mistakes. All of us. I did. You will. Everybody does. None of us are perfect. Okay? None of us. It was a real eye-opener looking at my kids in that video, though. I just, in my head, when I'm talking about them, because in my mind, I never had a clash with them. They were just so easy. So I just pictured these easy little quiet kids. And I look back at these videos. It was wild. We were just having a blast. They knew who they were. They were very confident, but they were never disrespectful. So yeah, I don't know why I had it in my head. They were so different. I was looking, were those my kids? I don't remember that. But, they were happy. Sugar. Okay. I was working with someone. She probably won't be watching. She hates me anyway. Asked for her money back in coaching, and this has happened maybe twice. And what I had written down, well, I can't say too much about it now, but it was someone who just couldn't face the fact that she had the responsibility of her kid's behavior. It was too painful for her. And no one knows who I'm talking about. But the thing is, until you're ready to understand that your kid's behavior is a reflection of you and your parenting, I can't help you. If you would rather blame your children than yourself, I can't help you. It amazes me that you love your children more than yourself, but you're more willing to blame them for their actions than yourself. Like if my kids had acted out, or kids I was working with, troubled teens, if they acted out, I always said, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? Because I can only control myself anyway. You have to be willing to take that on yourself. You have to. There's no point blaming them for their actions. It's like, I'm not a good enough leader. What am I missing here? That's where I always go. That's why I'm doing this. That's where I always went. I always took it upon myself to blame myself, even when I was working with kids. These are kids who were maybe abused. And I mean, really, if they were disrespectful towards me in any way, I'm thinking, okay, what am I doing wrong here? What am I missing? I never blamed them. And they weren't even my kids. I think it's because I knew I could figure it out. Because that's what I did. I was obsessed with trying to understand children. If you're not, I guess it's easier to blame them. But you can figure it out. That's why I'm here to empower you. You can figure this out. Getting respect is hard, but maintaining it is easy. So it is hard work. You have to earn this. You have to work for it. Respect doesn't get handed to you on a silver platter with your children. You got to earn it. You don't demand it, you command it. But you got to give it to get it. That's why you're on my behavior board. It's free on my website, by the way, which is bratbusters.com. It teaches you how to give respect to get it. It's very simple, but it works. I invented that behavior board 16 years ago, and I haven't changed it in 16 years. Sorry, I'm just going on my website here. Yeah, it's just scroll down, like very, very near the top. Okay. How do I stop it and make her react? Oh, how do you stop what? You don't stop kids. I have to go back too far. I get dizzy when I scroll backwards, so I can't. Do I completely ignore a 16-month-old? Oh, good question, but not for the reason you think. Do I completely ignore a 16-month-old getting upset over things he doesn't understand? 16-month-olds do not get upset because they don't understand things. They get upset because things aren't going their way. Tantrums do not happen as a result of not understanding things. They happen as a result of you're not getting what you want, when you want, how you wanted it. So explaining something to a 16-month-old does not prevent them from getting upset. Does that make sense? Understanding it's not going to make any difference. It's just not going their way. They'll eventually learn that life doesn't, you don't want to make everything easy for them. Life doesn't always go their way. It's an important lesson. It's awfully young. With that age, I still consider them almost babies at 16 months. It kind of transfers over in my mind. So I kind of divert them. So if they're really upset about something, I don't divert with candy or chocolate. That's rewarding the craziness or the getting upset. What I do is I might just sit over on the couch and start reading out loud one of their books. And then they eventually will learn to waddle over to you. Okay. That's how you divert. You don't divert with candy, but you don't divert older kids. You only do it with like babies, young, 16 and under. I want to know your first part to your question. It's Tibby. How do I stop it and make her react more calm? It's not quite how it's done, but I don't know what you're talking about. Please tips for picky eaters. That's more, so many things involved in that. You know why I always kind of stay away from that one? I don't know if they have allergies or sensitivities or, there could be some health issues. So I'm kind of funny about that one. But what I will say is I'm a real health food nut. So I didn't have junk food in the house. My kids had the choice, this healthy food or that healthy food. A lot of parents say, well, I don't want to live like that. Well, that's what I did. But I don't really give nutritional advice. Okay. Does that make sense? I can't. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I stay in my lane. Yeah, my kids had lots of options. This healthy food or that healthy food. When they went out, it was funny because when I did make pizza and all that, I made my own dough, I made everything from scratch. And so- but they couldn't understand when they went out or had bought pizza, like when we went out or when they went to a birthday party, why the pizza sauce was red. They couldn't understand that. Ours was always brown. Do you know why? There's so much spinach in it. I pureed spinach into everything. You know how much stuff had wheat germ and hemp seeds and spinach? And yeah, I was sneaking that into everything. And it was also peppered into the dough and bread. I made all the bread that had tons of wheat germ in it. And then they'd go out to other places and they'd have all this like fluffy bread and like sugary stuff. And they'd always come home with stomach aches. They couldn't figure that out. But yeah, they have at it. When you go out, eat whatever you want. I don't care. That's the real world. Go out and eat whatever you want. Come home to healthy crap. I live downtown. I've got neighbors. I got a window open here. Okay. Uh, how do you deal with a grumpy baby and you want to earn their respect back? I don't know what you mean. What's a baby and grumpy baby? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what the age is or what you mean by grumpy. My son, well, you have to tell me the age. 24-hour media blackout. What age is he? I don't know. I need the age for that one. Whoops. She answers back 7. Okay, there was 2 different questions with 2 different age. You're gonna have to put the whole question in, then the age, because I can't, because I've got a few questions coming up here. She answers back saying bad words, 3 years old. Okay, so she's saying bad words. Put down on the behavior board, no bad words. The behavior board's free on my website, bratbusters.com. She's 3 years old. It starts at the age of 3. No bad words. When she says a bad word, there's a consequence. The consequences don't have to happen right now, but it just at the end of the day or whatever. Whenever you can do it, then you say, okay, now we're going to do it now. But you say, that was a bad word. So we're going to go to the behavior board. You always refer back to it. Treat it like law, like a reference thing. You're always going to keep going back to. But if they say bad words all day long, you collect them all up into one big group and say, you said bad words all day long. So we're going to go to the bigger consequence on the board. They always have 2 consequences. You'll see when you download the behavior board, there's 2 consequences for kids. You do the first one, the easier one first. If they won't do it, then you do the big one. But if they're saying bad words all day long, you collect them all up into one big consequence. And that's the big consequence. And you say to them, you said a lot of bad words today, so we're going to go right to the big one. Media blackout, 24 hours, or whatever it is. It could be something else. Repeated bad behavior. I just said that, repeated. You bundle them all up into, and then you do the big consequence first. So there's always 2 consequences on the behavior board for the children. So you go right to the big one. Say, you did bad, you did this and you did that. Only mention 2 bad things. So we had a bad day. Okay, you broke that rule many times today. So we're going to go right to the big consequence. How do I stop and control it? Control what? If you add additions onto your question, I can't answer it. I need the whole question because I get stuff coming through and I need the whole question with the age and everything in one go. Okay, if a 4-year-old asks for something in a rude way, do you still give it to her or do you give a consequence? If they ask, like, let's say, okay, I'll just set it up as an example. If you have an ice cream cone in your hand, not sugar, if you have an ice cream cone in your hand that they want and they say, gimme now, I would say, ask nicely. And then if they ask nicely, I would give it to them. And then I would say, if that happens next time, it goes right in the garbage. So give them one warning because they're 4. Give them one warning. So the next time they'll probably forget about the warning. That's fine. Doesn't matter. The next time you go to hand them something and they say, gimme. And then I would take it and just chuck it. Say, remember last time? You asked nicely. That's it. Let them have a tantrum. Behind every scene is a lesson. If you don't embrace the scenes, like I embrace a tantrum. If they have a fit because I've laid down the law, that's none of my business. That's their process. They have to process, hey, maybe I'm in charge, not them. They have to, and you don't want them to be in charge. They don't want to be in charge. They need, crave, and want a leader. You want that to be you. If you don't lead by the way, this is a really good warning for you. If you're not willing to lead your children and be the leader for them, they will go searching for it elsewhere. They're going to go to their peers. They're going to go to the internet. They're going to go to the drug dealer on the corner, the Kardashians. They're going to go searching it. They naturally, instinctively look for a leader. You want it to be you. They're very susceptible to peer pressure if they don't have a leader at home. My son, 7, will get a 24-hour media blackout, then won't do anything the rest of the day. So that's fine. What do you mean he won't do anything? Does he have to do anything? He can just sit there, look out the window. That's fine. But what you do is when they have 24-hour media blackout, you do it with them. And then you try to engage them. Say, do you want to play a game? No, I hate you. I hate you. Fine, never mind. Then maybe an hour later, you ready for that game yet? No, I hate you. I hate you. Eventually they'll learn. Look, you're not mad at them. You've already laid down the law. That's happening. So then you're trying to use that non-screen time to bond with them. Doesn't matter what they do. You never worry about what the kids are doing. I pretty much am consistent in the way I lead with most kids. There's always a few little differences because they're all different personalities. But overall, I'm consistent and calm, and they know that. So once I've laid down the law and say, okay, well, media blackout, that's it. And then, do you want to go play a game? There's no anger. You've already punished. You don't keep punishing. So yeah, if they don't want to do anything, just keep inviting them. You want to go to the park? No, I hate you. Fine. It's your invitation that matters, not their accepting it. You're showing them how to be a calm leader. You're showing them that you really know what you're doing. It would be like, again, a sports coach is the most, I can't think of the word. It's the most similar relationship that in the way I teach parenting. It's a really good sports coach. So let's say a sports coach has a kid sitting on the bench because he cheated. Now, when he says to the kid, okay, you're all finished now, you're out for a whole inning. Okay, come on back in the game. No, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. They don't tend to do that, you see, because there's no anger left. There's no resentment. They understand. They take their punishment from a good leader. They just do. They don't argue it. My kids, if they did something wrong, they'd say, oh, sorry, I did that. How about no TV tonight? I'd say, no, that's okay. Just brush my hair for 5 minutes. There was no anger because they understood accountability. But that's because I got respect when they were tiny. Earning it, you're going to get some pushback. And that's okay. Behind every scene is a lesson. You got to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. Do not back away from scenes. Do not try and prevent them. Do not try and avoid them. Then they're in charge. If you're afraid of their scene, they're in charge and they know it. Believe me, if you're afraid of them having a scene, they know they're in charge. They know you're afraid. Guaranteed. They are smart. Okay. Like he won't do chores or homework. Oh, I see. So he won't do anything that he needs to do. So he's got 24-hour media blackout. And then the next day, so we got 24-hour media blackout for not doing his chores. Then the day that, let's say, he got 24-hour media blackout for not doing his chores. So the next day, he doesn't have to do his chores. You don't double up. You don't get him to do what he didn't do. Like, it's like if gets kind of confusing here, but you see what I'm saying? So what if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, except homework? He has to do his homework. And I would come up with another punishment for that one. Say, I'll tell you what, he was 7, right? If you don't do your homework, the media blackout might last longer. See what he says to that. Don't do it yet. He's only 7. I never double it until they're 9. But just ask him. Say it might even last longer. There might be an extra punishment because you got to do your homework. You don't say, I want you to do it. You say, you got to do your homework. Okay. Alexa, stop. I'm going to have to go in just a minute. I've got a session with a client. Okay. By the way, I'll just do my outro and then I'll do a couple more questions. I'm just thinking, do I have to go to the bathroom before my session? I think I'm okay. I have 15 minutes between sessions. They're my pee breaks. So, because often sessions go long and I'm always 2 minutes early for each session. I'm just sitting there waiting. Very organized. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm okay. So my website is bratbusters.com. If you go on there, you can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. You're on it too. That's what makes it work. The website again is bratbusters.com. I'm a parenting coach, and that's what I do. So let's go here. It's funny. I did a video. I'll just go on a little bit about myself. I did a video called Chores and Allowance, and it kind of blew up. It's almost 2 million views, which isn't my biggest. And that one, you know, it's funny when I did that one, it's one of those, I always think, oh, this video, this is going to kill it. But what I think you need to hear, you don't want to listen to. And when I think it doesn't really matter, like, I don't know what you want. Like, in other words, every time I think it's a good video, no one looks at it. And I think, oh, they need to hear this. They're going to love this. And then no one looks at it. That one, I thought, no one's going to look at this. And that one blew up. Anyway, that one got, I don't know why, that one got picked up by media all over the world. That was a really big one. And they, yeah, that one really got picked up. I've done way better videos than that one. And I don't know why that one got picked up. It's just chores and allowance. Do you know why I figured that that's so popular? I kind of figured that one out, is because it's so doable. It's not talking the big picture like respect, leadership. And that's the stuff I really want to talk about. But chores and allowance, you do get respect by setting those systems up. That's part of it. That's part of leadership. So it still is part of it, but it's action based rather than theory based. I always want to talk theory, but you like actions. So yeah, I get that. And that makes sense. I'm like that too. When I'm trying to learn something, I want actions. I don't want to hear about the theory. I don't give a crap. Just tell me what to do. Right? So you think I could figure that out? But anyway, it just struck me as odd that that one went so viral, and I didn't think that it would at all. But anyway, funny. So I've still got a bunch of interviews coming up on that one with media. I don't do them all because it depends. If it's big media, I'll do it. But smaller media, they just want my audience, so I don't do that. Yeah, because I could reach more people on here than I can in there with their audience, and I don't have time for everything. Okay, so I'll do one more question, then I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go. Okay, I'm just not even gonna answer this, but I'm just gonna say, look at my toddler playlist on TikTok. How to get a 2-year-old to listen to your directions. LOL, you were teasing me, right? Toddlers make no sense. They have no common sense yet. They have no context of the world yet. And their urges far outweigh any reasoning you think you can do with them. Their reasoning, that is frontal lobe. That is common sense. That is sense of reasoning, a sense of maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. They don't have that yet. They're going to do crazy stuff. They don't make any sense. There's nothing wrong with toddlers. They're not actually, they make perfect sense to me because they're not formed yet. They're forming. It's your or lack of understanding about them that's the problem. It's the way you're interpreting them is the problem. I child-proofed my whole house because I knew toddlers were crazy. They're just forming. They don't know not to get into the plants. They don't know not to eat a Dieffenbachia leaf. They don't know, right? So I just child-proofed my whole house so that I could just relax and enjoy them. So yeah, and they don't listen to directions unless it suits them. Anyway, I have to go. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow. My website's bratbusters.com if you want to know more. Remember, my behavior board is free and it's on the front page of my website. Take care. Bye now. Had a hard time shutting down on there. I don't know why. I think my thumb was too big.